The critics hate it, but what do we think of Return to Silent Hill? Does it do the games justice, or should we have returned our cinema tickets? Let's find out on the Late Night Movie Podcast. Welcome back to the Late Night Movie Podcast. I'm your host, Welchy, and joining me tonight, as always, are my co-hosts, Mr. Pop Figures himself, Andy.
Hello, guys. Yep, happy to be back and can't wait to talk about Silent Hill. I think it's going to be a fun one, but in different ways.
And our resident horror expert, Stephen.
Yes, hello, everybody. Love the pun as well. Good one. Return cinema
It
ticket.
was okay.
Nice.
It could have done some work, but
It was solid. And yeah, obviously we've seen this a couple of weeks ago, so I've had to hold on my thoughts for a while. I can't wait to kind of release and tell you what I think about it. It's going to be. Yeah, we saw it not last Friday, the Friday before.
You
we
saw it
in the
release,
same night.
Release night.
Release night, yeah, because we saw Mercy, and then we went straight from that into Return to Silent Hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a long month, I know.
The reason we are reviewing it now rather than last weekend is because I didn't go on release night. I went on Wednesday this week or Tuesday, whenever I went, doesn't really matter. So here we are. We're reviewing it today. Obviously, go on.
No, just say we basically said that you have to watch it before we review it. Was the other reason.
I wanted to watch it. Obviously, I am a fan of Silent Hill 2, the remake. That's the only one I've played. Out of the three of us, I'm the only one who's played any of the Silent Hills. So I guess I'm the most.
I've done an hour and a half of Silent Hill 2.
Yeah. So I guess I'm the most knowledgeable here. But even that, I'm no expert in Silent Hill. But I did love number 2. Played for it, the remake. And seeing as this film is based fully on Silent Hill 2 and it's just a condensed version of it, I thought, brilliant. Sounds perfect. I'm sure it'll be great. And we're about to find out whether it is or not. No laughing, Andy. No give it away. So
I'm not giving anything away.
We'll go straight into it today. We always start off with some fun facts and figures. Budget. What was the budget for Return to Silent Hill? Steve, what do you reckon it was?
I think they put a bit of money into it, to be fair. There's a couple of special effects that we used all the way throughout. I'll go maybe 25 million.
Andy, what do you reckon?
I hope it's not that much, because what the fuck? There was a lot of special effects though.
Special is a good word.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 million.
Oh, well, Stephen was much closer. 23 million.
Yeah.
Okay. What did they spend that on? Bloody
yeah, we'll see. Box office. So go on, Stephen.
No, say question. Who developed Silent Hill 2?
Konami.
The game developer.
Konami is the publisher and
so
developer.
were Konami involved in
Konami were
the production of this?
In the opening thing it said in partnership with, I believe.
Yeah.
I remember.
I was trying to remember that sort of aspect of it, kind of where we'll get on to kind of my thoughts
actually
on that as well.
The developer for the remake was Bloober team.
Right.
Because they made The Medium. I know this is a movie podcast, but it does give detail into Silent Hill 2. They made The Medium, which I played and was like the most bang average horror game ever. Didn't really like it.
I've heard about it and heard it's literally bang average. Yeah. It's nothing special.
So then when it was announced they were making the remake, it was like fine. And then the trailers were coming out, it was like, it doesn't look that good. Then it came out and everyone was like, oh, shit, they did it. They actually remade this game that everyone loves and made it amazing. So I know that they made the remake. They did that in partnership with Konami. So Konami would have given them the rights to do that. The original game, I'm not entirely sure. Let me see. It says developed by Team Silent, a group in Konami. So Konami owns Silent Hill, the rights to it.
Okay.
Budget. Sorry, we've done budget. Box office. Do you know what it's got?
It's been
out a week and 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah, I think it had a bit of a hit over opening weekend, and then has kind of fallen off the face of the planet. So I would say it's probably just made its money back at this moment. I might be optimistic though.
Okay, so Stephen's going for 23. Andy.
Yeah. The thing is, even if it doesn't score well, fans of the game will still want to watch it to give their own opinion on it.
And
but
Also, just to add, we had a number of people in our screen. I know it was opening night, but it was a pretty, like, fairly packed out screening. The one that we went to, and it was a quite late showing. So I imagine maybe over the weekend, numerous people went to see it. That was my.
I'm gonna say 15 million.
15.
Yeah.
Andy wins this one, but closer. You didn't hit it on the money. 10 million.
Okay.
Wow.
10 million so far. I don't think this is going to be the first proper dud of the year. Not making its money back. I don't even think it's going to reach 23 at this rate.
No.
That's not
dear.
telling you what I think of the film, but just what is happening. So, Rotten Tomatoes critic score, 18% currently.
I am so glad no one picked this in our Rotten Tomatoes game, even though someone in this, someone was trying to bait people into going and leaning towards it. And I'm looking at somebody in my left, they kept going, "Oh, Stephen, how do you look at Return to Silent Hill? Oh, Stephen, that might be a good
just
pick."
To reiterate, on the video, I'm on your left. You mean Andy above you?
Yeah, I'm looking at it from my perspective, where I would always do that. But yeah, I am very happy that no one went, or I didn't pick it anyway, because
I would have been happy if someone else chose it.
This would have been a fail even if someone had picked it on the audience score, which obviously we did this year, because the audience score is 29.
Wow,
so slightly better,
crazy,
but not good at all. Letterboxd is also bad reading, 1.6.
Wow.
It's it's basically averaging 1.5 stars on Letterboxd, which is that's not
just
good.
To reiterate the point, I think I'm happy that no one picked it, because it makes it interesting that, like, we're all at the same sort of level until other movies come out. If that makes sense. If one person picks it now, they're at a massive disadvantage.
Like you last year.
We haven't even got going. Yeah, exactly. It's a level playing field, is one saying. I'm happy that no one picked it, although I wouldn't be unhappy if one of you had.
This was always going to be dangerous territory. And
Yeah.
obviously it's turned out to be.
Games into movies always are, aren't they?
Critically bad anyway.
It's also the month that I refer to as sort of the death month. You do sometimes get hidden gems in January, but
like
you
Bone
also
Temple.
can. Yeah, so you got 28 Years Bone Temple doing wondrous work, and then in the past, horror movies that release in January don't tend to do well. There's a reason why they come out at the start of the year.
Well, let's find out what we think. I've watched a few films now in January, and there's been, other than more recent ones, they've all been pretty good.
Yeah, but
Primate, The Bone Temple, Hamnet, all great films.
Bone Temple is an exception. I don't think there's many of those films at the end of the year you'll be thinking, wow, they were great. Like, they're going to be anywhere close to the top 10, other than Bone Temple.
I think The Bone Temple and Hamnet, based on how powerful and emotional that was, and the actors also sort of winning best performances and getting voted for awards.
Hamnet's a dodgy one. That's a 2025 release in the US.
Yeah, but UK, we can watch it in the US. So
also, I am more specifically talking about horror when I mention that. I mean, generally, January I don't always think is a great month to release anything, but in terms of horror movies, there's a whole long list of horror movies that have come out in January that have just not done well. Probably the most notable is like Paranormal Activity, the Mark ones. That when that came out in January, there's a reason why.
I loved Wolfman last year, but was Wolfman January or February last year?
That was January. No, I think it was January.
Oh. It was late January. It was definitely early.
I thought it was near Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I think it was near Valentine's. But I mean, that is January as well, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into what we think of Return to Silent Hill. I'll go last on this one because I just want to go last.
You want us to wait?
Yes, you two don't know what I think. Where I've got a good idea what you two think. Although actually, I think Andy knows what I think. Let's start with Andy. What did you think of Return to Silent Hill? And obviously, you score out of 10.
Okay, so I haven't written anything down. I thought this is going to be such a fun debate talking about this film when we all get into it. But Return to Silent Hill, me and Steve went to watch it opening day. And it's lucky that we watched Mercy first, because we went into the screening thinking both these films have not scored well critically. And we went in and watched Mercy, and we both came out, enjoyed that, and was like, okay, that's one film ticked off. We actually liked it. Critics were wrong on that one in terms of what we thought about it. Let's go into Return to Silent Hill. And I haven't played the game, so I'm not going to be comparing it to the game in sort of that aspect. But sort of looking at it as a standalone horror movie, and obviously I've seen your streams of it, Welchy, not fully, so I'm not fully aware of everything that happens in the game, but I know sort of the characters that you come up against. I've seen sort of some of those scenes with like the nurses, the mannequins, Pyramid Head, some of those bits on through watching the stream. But this is gonna be up there for one of the worst movies of 2026 if we do an episode on this, because I was fucking bored out my mind watching this, and me and Stephen both came out of the cinema, sort of said similar things, but I didn't mind the intro. I thought the intro sort of got me a bit intrigued, because I was like, okay, I know James's character, when he's sort of daydreaming in the bar or sort of having flashbacks, those sort of bits. I was intrigued by that, and then how he meets Mary, I was like, okay, what's going on here? Like, I'm actually finding it a bit interesting. But from that point onwards, it just goes downhill, and I was completely confused by what this film was trying to say, what the plot was. I'm still confused to this day, and I've done some research after the film to try and fill in some holes to what certain things meant, and I'm still as confused as I was when I went into there. It was quite funny actually, because we was watching it, and obviously I don't know the actors' names. I don't think I've seen them in anything else, but the actress who plays Mary, there's a part during the show where she's obviously playing a different character, and Stephen turns around to me and goes, that's the same woman, right? Why does he not recognize her?
It was one of those moments where I broke the code of conduct, and also in response to when you say that when you Google it, it's one of those that even Google's like, I don't fucking know. You start reading about it and you're more confused than what you were when you went in, because no one can give me a proper answer as to what this movie was telling me.
Yeah, it was. I felt it was a bit messy, and the plot was unclear in terms of what's real, what's fake. I did think the nurses, the mannequins, they were pretty cool when they popped up, but I don't feel like they were in it enough. I don't know how much they're in the game, but obviously you'll be able to give us that comparison, Welchy. Pyramid Head as well, when he popped up, I thought he looked pretty cool. I thought like all those different characters looked cool. The spider thing, I don't know what it's called. I don't know if that's in the game. I don't remember seeing that in the game. So if it was, then I don't know how realistic that looked in comparison. But I thought those things were freaky. The little girl was a bit freaky as well. I'm not sure what her sort of role in the movie was, in terms of, like, I know there's sort of a lot of metaphors in this with Mary and her two middle names. I can't remember what they were now. Angela, or there was like two middle names that it showed on her grave, and then you've got the characters in the movie that are called those names, and they're like, I don't know what they're meant to be or symbolize in the movie. But yeah, I just walked out of it really confused, thinking, did James dream all of that? Did he have a vision? Because obviously it skips back to the intro scene again, and I'm thinking, obviously he decides not to go to Silent Hill again, because why would you, after having all of that fucking shit happen to you? But I was just confused on whether any of it was real or not. I did think some of the special effects were cool. The way that he like uses the radio to know when there's something near, so I feel like that's something that you could have in the game, where if you're near an enemy, that will activate sort of things.
That's from the game.
Okay.
So in the game, you've got something, and you start hearing the crackling, you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, so it's cool when they do things like that and can put it into the movies and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a good way to link it to the game. I think I might have jumped once, and I can't remember why now. But yeah, it wasn't particularly scary. There was a lot of jump scares. But
there's a sequence in the house when James, before he meets the guy that like he has that interaction with, something jumps out. I can't remember what it was, but you did jump, so I then moved. It was the first bit of movement in the whole film, and I was like, "Oh, Annie, oh, you jumped, okay." I think that's the only moment that got you.
The whole, and obviously, am I going spoiler territory here? I don't think people really get. I'll try the there's part that I know isn't in the game, and like when they sort of introduced that part into the movie, I was like, okay, what the hell is that all about? But I'll go more into that when we start talking about spoilers. But yeah, overall, I was confused as fuck. The only good thing were some of the special effects were cool, like when he puts his hand down, or like when it goes from like normal to like foggy. Like some of that bits were cool, like sort of setting the environment. Yeah. Other than that, though, I didn't think any of the performances were too great. I thought Mary was okay. She was right in some scenes. Some other bits I was confused by, like the part that Steven just mentioned, the interaction with that guy and then the little girl, and then like, yeah, it's just all a bit out of place for me. So overall, I think you can tell I didn't enjoy this movie at all, which is obviously seems to be the theme a lot at the moment with people going to watch this. So I know you've seen my score on Letterboxd Welchy. I gave it 1.5 stars. So that means it gets a 3 out of 10. No, I'm going to give it 2.5. It doesn't deserve to be a 3.
2.5 from Andy.
Wow.
Which is your lowest of the year so far.
Well,
by some distance.
Wait till later.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, Stephen, I am hoping you like this more than Andy did, but I've got a feeling you didn't. What did you think of it?
Well, that now makes you think that you liked it more, and I'll be like thinking we'll have a serious debate if it is the case. So obviously, I have played about an hour and a half of Silent Hill 2. I played up to the point where you go into like I think it's like a shop where you do the combination and then you go in, and I've had to then go out on Halloween. So that's as much as I've played. I've played sort of the beginning of the game, walked through Silent Hill. So basically, the opening sort of 20 minutes, I understood because I was like, oh shit, this literally is playing out like the opening of Silent Hill 2 is. So I thought there was sort of potential in that point. Obviously, once he actually gets to Silent Hill, that point.
So just to reiterate, that's the bit where he, after he gets the letter. So in the game, you obviously don't see him with Mary. The game starts with him getting the letter saying, "I am in Silent Hill. Come back."
Yeah, and he's overlooking sort of the top where the car is. I recognised all of that scenery. Yeah. So up to the point of when in the movie where he has that first interaction with one of the creatures, that's kind of at that point where I'm like, okay, I don't know anything else that's happened in the game. I still need to play it. And sort of then I just kind of based it on a film where the first bit I'm comparing it to the game, which I know obviously you're going to do in a lot more detail because you've gone through the entirety of it. This movie is nothing short of an absolute disgrace. One absolute pile of fucking shit. A shitstorm from start to finish is what I've written down as my opening sort of line. As I said, the opening 20 minutes I was interested in because of those reasons that I've just outlined. And I was like, okay, this has got potential. But for me, the potential falls away after 20 minutes. And I am disgusted with what the movie tries to do. I don't care about sort of the hidden meanings with sort of like in Silent Hill, a lot of it is kind of you don't quite understand what's going on. That's kind of the vibe that I was getting when I was playing the first part of the game anyway. And from people that have played it, some people say there's mystery with it. Yeah. So I get maybe that the movie was trying to go down that route of being mysterious and making you think as an audience what's real, what isn't. But the way that they execute that is just so bad, right? I'm not an idiot. I understand plot. I understand complex themes and ideas. But I don't think I've ever come out of a movie and thought, I just have no idea what the fuck is going on. I don't get what was real. I don't get what was fake. I don't even know what is happening throughout. Like, and I hate to be horrible to actors. The acting in this film is so bad. It is so bad from every single person.
Every single one.
Every single one of them. James is fucking a wet weekend. Like he's emotionless. He's bland. There's 2 Marys in the film. I didn't even know if they were the same person. That's why I broke the code of conduct.
I'll get onto that in a minute. Do you know, like Jeremy Irvine, plays James. Do you know what he's from?
No,
I didn't recognize him.
Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
Oh, really?
Who's he play? Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again.
He plays.
Does he play young
Sam Carmichael?
Oh, yeah, he's one of the 3 dads in the film.
Version, yeah.
when they go back to 70s. Well, he was great in that, and he's got a good singing voice. But in terms of Return to Silent Hill, he is fucking dreadful. Like, I was so annoyed with the acting. I actually thought that there was a couple of decent effects, but the actual CGI of the film at times looked really bad for me. Like, it looked awful. It looked like it was made on Windows Movie Maker at times. There were moments where it looked all right. So there just wasn't that consistency throughout. And then
yeah, I think the moments where it looked worse, the CGI, was when he smashed, like when he put his hand on the floor and it like starts going like all lavery. Yeah, that's when I don't think it looked particularly great. But like the fog and stuff, and like the NPCs, I'm going to call them, I thought looked good.
Yeah, they looked alright. It was just, as the movie progressed, I just thought it got worse and worse. It was kind of like they kind of stopped caring as they got to that stage of the movie. The bit for me that, well, probably the bit for me that really, really seals its fate, and I use this sort of analogy. Let me try and get my words out right there. With Andy when I was driving us home after it, I felt that the writing team all got an assignment to go, right, guys, everyone go away with your ending to this movie. Come back with an idea and we'll sit through them. All of the writers came back with their idea of how they're getting in the movie. And do you know what they were like? Do you know what? We're just going to do all of them. We're just going to put every ending into the movie. So the movie feels like it has 7 endings, where every time I'm thinking, this is wrapping up, this is ending. Oh no, we're going again. Oh no, we're going to a dream sequence. Oh no, we're back to the hospital. Oh no, we're now back in Silent Hill. Oh no, we're not back in Silent Hill. And I'm sitting there going, what the actual fuck is going on? Like, it's disgraceful. There was no plan, right? And if you tell me that that's how Silent Hill 2 plays out, I will not be playing that fucking piece of shit, right? Because no movie should have 8 different endings in one single movie, right? This movie is an hour and 42 minutes, and it feels about nearly going towards like the brutalist sort of running time, in terms of, I was thinking, just fucking end this film. And no, we're still going. And I was like, that's just lazy. That's like, you can't work out a good way to end the movie, so you're just going to keep going and going and going. And yeah, you could argue that Silent Hill has that mystery, but that's a cop out. That's just like lazy writing, no plan, no direction. And from what I've read online, a lot of what happens in the movie isn't even true to the game as well. It's kind of like they've gone rogue in some areas. So it's like, what actually is the point of all of this? This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Not just of this year. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I've seen some pretty shit horror movies in my time. I've seen many, some good, some bad, some ugly. This is absolutely in the ugly category. Like, the more I talk about it, the more angry I get with this. And I feel I'm going to get more angry watching, because I feel like I'm getting the vibe that you're going to say that you enjoyed this. And I don't know how any single person would enjoy this movie, even if you've played the game, because the way that it's told in the movie, from the writing to the acting to the CGI, like, everything is so bad. Like, there's not a single positive that I can give this film. Not one, apart from that it ended. That's it. And maybe the first 20 minutes, maybe I was intrigued, but they ruined all of the little positives. Were ruined by the way that the movie ends and the terrible story arc that it takes. So yeah, I didn't like it.
Really? Yeah, I could tell. So score?
This is a 1 out of 10. Is that the lowest score that we can give on the podcast? We can't give a 0, can we?
Technically, you could give a 0.5 if you want to.
I mean, I'll give it maybe the 1 for the 20-minute spell of potential, and that it did stick true to the game in that sense, and a couple of bits of CGI. That will be where I get its point. It doesn't get.
You did call it a disgrace, and a 1 out of 10 is classified as a disgrace. So.
Oh, it is an absolute disgrace. Like, I don't understand. Like, thing is, we've seen games be adapted into movies. I understand and appreciate that it's a hard thing to do. Like, I enjoyed the Uncharted movie, but I know a lot of people didn't like that. And obviously, like, I know it's a TV show, but The Last of Us has had its sort of issues. Until Dawn, I know some people, you didn't like how they went with that. So I understand that it's a difficult thing to get right, but at least you can do something with it. And just, I feel like this movie would have been much more beneficial if they just kept it simplified, like that he's on Silent Hill looking for Mary, and just keep it to that sort of, you can have the twists and the horror moments and the monsters and the ghouls and all of that, but we don't need to then keep going back and forth into different sequences. It it really was difficult for like me to follow what actually was going on. Or if you're going to those fake dream sequences, like change the palette, or put something on the screen as a visual aid that tells us as the audience, oh shit, this is a dream sequence, or illustrate it in a more clearer and concise way, because it just becomes so muddied, like generally. And again, Google doesn't help you. I have literally Googled so many times, can anyone explain to me what actually is the meaning of Return to Silent Hill? And no one seems to be able to answer. They start going, well, this is my loose interpretation. No, I don't need loose interpretation of it. I need to know clarity. What does this actually mean? Like, even the plot, when you read it, just is so like blurred. And I'm just like, this isn't Silent Hill. Or maybe it is. I don't know.
Okay, so interesting to hear your thoughts. I will start on that point. Silent Hill 2, the game, especially the remake I'm speaking of, is one of those stories where it's like you finish it and you're like, okay, what the fuck? Like, what? How do I interpret that? It's not a game that shoves it down your throat, which I sometimes complain about with like the Elden Rings and stuff, or the Bloodborns. It's like, oh, you have to go on YouTube to find out all the lore. I'm like, no, I'm not here for that. Silent Hill's not to that level. Silent Hill gives you everything and basically says, what do you think? That's how I interpret it. And I left that a bit annoyed when I first finished the game. I was like, oh, man. Then I sat there for a few days and thought, genius. It's absolutely genius. Like, when you actually think about what has happened in the game and what it all means, it's like, actually, that's genius. The writing's incredible. And then obviously they're trying to make a film out of it. And do they hit that? Not quite. What I will say, I'm going to start on positives. The positives are they nailed the look of the enemies. So particularly I don't know what they're all called. So I've actually gone and searched
the enemies that have got no faces, because I saw a couple of them in my playthrough. I'd agree with that. They absolutely looked exactly like I remembered in the game, and the town of Silent Hill. And as I said, the opening bit, I was like, yeah, this is literally like word for word, shot by shot, what you see in the game. I'm interested to know what points they deviated from, because obviously you've got more of that sort of
in terms experience. Of enemies, they haven't. Like the first one that you see, there was like this, like it almost looks like someone stuck in like a thing, which they were. Those were real actors, real dancers, or whatever they were in these costumes. And I thought, fair play to you. You could have easily, maybe some were CGI, but they were definitely some which were actors and dancers. And I thought, fair play. I like that you tried that, and I like that you did that, and they looked fantastic. They're called the lying things, apparently.
Definitely.
And then you got on the little bugs, fine, whatever. I do remember in them in the game, they're not a massive thing, and that was only in it for a very short part of the movie. Then you got the nurses, which I thought looked fantastic in this movie again.
I wanted more of them though, because I felt like that was a major part of the bit that I watched when you were streaming, and I felt like that was in the game for a lot. Like,
that's another point. Is the game took me about 20 hours, and then they're trying to condense that down into a very short period of time. Again, a lot of that's gameplay, not story stuff. So you can do it. I think it can be done, and I was really hopeful that they would actually nail it. Again, Pyramid Head, like you said, Andy, he looked fantastic. I want to get back onto him in a minute. Maybe we want to spoil the territory. They all look fantastic, and I have to give some score there because they nailed it in terms of design and look. They nailed it.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is James is not James. James did not look like James.
He's not even got when it first got announced, and this is why I didn't even go near it. People were like, he's not even got the same kind of hair as James.
Not the same kind of hair. Some people would argue that they purposely gave him the blonde like hair. He looks a bit like innocent is the word I think we paid, and this James didn't look innocent. He looked a bit, I don't know, rough and ready, and a bit of a dick, to be honest. Maria,
he looks like a really he looked like a really shitty understudy that doesn't even look like the actual person.
It didn't look good at
all. No.
I'm not going to be as harsh and saying he's like the worst actor ever like you just did, but I thought he was okay. Mary, I thought was fine. Maria, that wig was fucking horrendous on her.
Is that the one that is played by the same person?
Yes, so just to clarify, it's meant to be the same person. I'll go more into
that's meant to be Mary as well.
I'll go into it in spoiler territory because I don't want to spoil the game either. But you're supposed to think it's the same person.
Right. Can I just change you on the point of James though? What did he actually do in any part of the movie that you sat there and was like, yeah, he like was okay? Because generally, there was no emotion. It was all.
It's more, I
vague,
never
like,
sat there and thought this is horrendous. I'm not saying he was great. I just never sat there
oh,
and
okay,
thought, what the fuck is this in terms of acting? I'm not saying it was good either. Like, I'm just saying it was fine. But I
okay,
couldn't get
okay,
past the look of him was more my issue with him. And then
yeah,
Maria didn't look great. Then there were some other side characters. They all seemed very similar to what they did in the game. You don't get to see them much in the movie. You got the kind of like bigger, good looking guy when you first meet
yeah,
Pyramid Head. You got
Yeah,
the
yeah.
girl at the beginning who's like using those sandbags. She looked vaguely what I remember in the game. Then the little girl, who I
yeah.
actually thought did a decent job.
You know the sort because I'm thinking of like questions as you're kind of giving us more information on it. At the beginning of the game, where you go to sort of Riverbit and you do meet that
That lady,
girl,
yeah, yeah.
that was I thought yeah
Very
again in
similar.
that first 3 minutes very similar in terms of style and the way that she speaks to you. Because I was kind of when I was playing that bit, I was thinking, is she going to come along with me to Silent Hill? And then she just you leave her like you then ventured Silent Hill and she's left there. So it's good to know that she pops up later on in the story.
Yes,
I'm
she
assuming.
does.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
and actually, the points where she did was very similar to the game.
Okay.
This film had so much potential. Like what I'm just pointing out here is a lot of things looked good and could have been. They were lining things up nicely. If I saw a trailer of all those things, I'd have been like, you know what, this could be it. This could be the one. However, they took the fucking piss with the plot in this movie. They took
Yeah.
liberties. I'm going to go into the spoiler territory, the bits that is a disgrace. What they did is just so wrong on so many levels. Like, the game is so good. The story of the game is so good. How they thought that this story was in any way, shape, or form an improvement, I can't imagine you'd make it on purpose to make it worse. You must have done this to think this will make it
Yeah.
better for the movie format.
Yeah, yeah.
No way. Like,
Because
it's just not right. It's just not good, and it's shit. And the ending you don't like, Stephen. Yes, this is a game that has different endings. You get one of them in this movie. I didn't get that one actually, so I think I got a different ending in the game. The very, very final scene, cop out, bollocks.
the
But yeah, go on.
the thing that gets me, because also like this could have been a movie that would have given massive plot spoilers, but I will go into Silent Hill 2 when I play it, and it hasn't spoiled anything because I don't understand what they were trying to tell. It might be that there's things that you've picked up that would be, but it was just so messy. And also in a game, if there's multiple endings, you could argue that they try and end this movie in 6 different ways with all of the different bits that they do. In a game, that works because you, as a player, get the opportunity to
make those
pick
choices, yeah.
which ending. You can't do that in a movie. Like it doesn't work unless you might be able to get away with doing maybe like an ending and an alternative ending and being creative in that. You probably could do it with 2, maybe 3 if you're really creative. But once you start getting to like 4, 5, and 6, you're taking the piss.
I don't know what,
and it's
because to me there was only 2 endings, but I think you probably just thought it was ending, whereas I was watching.
It just
thinking,
felt like
know
there
it's
was
not.
different. It just felt like that it was moving to a different end, and we swapped location. And every time it felt like a set piece that you would associate with the movie coming to an end. That's what I took it as, because it happened like 6 or 7 times, and then we kept, and because every time it jumped, it went to black, and then it opened up again in a new scene. Then it went to black and opened up in the scene, and it was like, okay, why are we not ending? Why are we still doing this?
Yeah, I'm nowhere near as negative, particularly as Stephen's 1. Andy's 2.5, I'm definitely closer to. I'm just really disappointed in it because there was so much potential with it, and the story itself, the game itself, just has potential. Like, it's great. It's one of the classics, so it shouldn't be that hard to convert it. Yes, making games into movies is difficult. We know that. Like, I would actually say Until Dawn did a better job in this, and you know my thoughts on Until Dawn. That's how much they took the piss with the story in this. And the bigger thing, as Andy has alluded to, there's just not enough of Pyramid Head. There's just not enough of the nurses. The lying man, yes, you actually got a few of them. You got a few moments for that. They did quite well with that, and it shot the stuff out of his chest like it does in the game. They did that quite well. You could have even had more of that, but we needed more of the nurses because they are probably the scariest part.
That's what makes the game terrifying when you're playing through it. And this is a perfect game to make into a movie with the horror aspects of it. Because if you have more, even if you just had the sounds of like Pyramid Head with his weapon, cleaver, like his long bloody sword thing. It's like, even if you just heard that sometimes when he's like walking through Silent Hill and you heard it against the walls or the ground, like even that would add that extra bit of intensity to the film.
I would take like a dumbed down version, like take away all of the intricate parts of the plot to the story of Silent Hill. If they just did a stripped down movie in the world of Silent Hill, which honed in on the enemies, the nurses, the sounds, those scary, you could get a much better product because the plot just kind of tangles that all up. And I do agree with what you're saying, Welchy. I think that it had potential. What it also has done is like, because there's talks that either this year or next year we're getting an Outlast movie. I am fucking terrified for now any movie adaptation of a video game, particularly horror, because it just feels like we just don't know what we're doing. I take Until Dawn because I liked it personally, but if you look at comparing it to the game, it takes liberties with that premise.
But at least they went into it. They had to make a choice in Until Dawn because that's almost impossible to make into a movie. That game concept.
Yeah.
So they either just picked a storyline, as in like one of the playthroughs, and just went with it, or they did what they did. And I was like, at least you chose something and stuck with it. This, they just made the wrong choice. But what I will say is, I know you said they could just dumb it down and just do the end. Knowing what the game is about and what is happening in Silent Hill, the enemies are so pivotal to the actual story, which you don't get from the movie, and you don't really get from the game unless you kind of work it out what's happening. They are so closely linked to what is happening in Silent Hill, and what you need the story around it. And the problem is, they fucked the story up. That is the problem with this movie. The plot is just wrong.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. How are the enemies pivotal to Silent Hill?
I don't really want to tell you that.
No,
because of,
don't tell me that because I am going to play it. But what I mean is that if I had got a little bit of that from the movie, and then you're sitting there going, well, the game is loosely like that, but it will play differently when you're actually experiencing the game rather than the movie. Fair enough. But I literally have no idea. I don't get any part of that. No. And I'm not just kind of saying it out there. You know when you say movies, oh, there's bits that I don't understand. There is nothing in this movie in terms of plot that I don't understand. And that is surely a failure of the movie itself in the way that they try to tell that story. Because both me and Andy are in the same position where we're like, we don't understand.
Obviously, I have looked into it a bit more since watching it, and I understand what the game is. And I know from what you're saying, Welchy, why it would be harder to understand that in the movie when like Pyramid Head and other characters aren't in it
as much as enough. They're not in it enough.
So you wouldn't be able to get that from the movie, whereas obviously you can get what the game is telling with those characters, and I know what they're telling from what I've read.
I could think of a great way to make you have that realization in the film, like, oh my god, that's what these are. Like I could think of it right in my head right now. I can think of how to do it, and I'm not saying I'm a good filmmaker. I might fuck up if I tried, but there's ways to do it. I'm not saying it's easy. They could try it my way and it'd be bad as well, but we're going to it in spoiler territory. I think it's safer there. I'll give my score.
Because we need to talk about the plot, and then we can get into
that's
it.
The main thing. So I came out thinking 2 out of 5, 4 out of 10. And the more I've sat with this film, the more I've thought about it, the more I've done reminded myself about the game, I've got angrier about the story. I'm going 3.5. And most of those points are for how good things looked. Although, again, saying that, I'm talking about the enemies in particular. I do think a lot of the CGI was crap in this. A lot of stuff didn't look good. Maria's wig was horrendous. Lots of bits didn't look good. But the bits that did, and there were so many times where I thought this could be good, they could be nailing it, and then they couldn't quite do it. I do think it deserves something for those things. And as someone who's played the game, you sit there thinking, I remember that exact bit, and a lot of it looked good in terms of I could tell you exactly what part of the game that
and is. I said I had that in the first 20 minutes. It's literally identical in the way that it plays out, and that's where the potential was. And it just falls away. The other also, I mean, I could literally pick holes in this movie all bloody night. The sound at the beginning was good, but there was a bit, I think, towards the latter stages where they had a moment where the sound was out of sync, which I can't stand in a movie. There's one bit where, I pick it up really well with my music technology background, but I was like, oh my God, not only is the acting wooden and the CGI crap, but you're now giving up on the sound. So there's like a bit where I think might have been Pyramid Head actually, makes a sound, but it's like a couple of milliseconds out. But in a professional movie, that's terrible. That's like so bad. Like it just, what happens on the screen and the sound's got to synchronize. And it kind of felt like they gave up like 2/3 of the way through with everything. It was the other sort of point that I picked up. And I was just like, there's no excuse. Like, this is your opportunity to make a really faithful movie adaptation of a great video game. And you fucked it completely.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will go into spoiler territory. But you've heard our scores. Andy gave it 2.5, Stephen gave it 1, and I've given it a generous, and I will say generous, 3.5. So yeah, we're going to take a very quick break, and then we'll come back and talk all things spoilers. Welcome back to the Late Night Movie Podcast. We are reviewing Return to Silent Hill. You've heard our reviews, our scores, but now we're going into spoiler territory. So this will spoiler things in the game. I don't want to spoil too many things because Stephen hasn't played the game. Andy hasn't played the game. I don't know if Andy's going to, but Stephen probably will. I'm going to try not to spoil the game too much, but the film will be spoiled. So if you're going to see the film, which obviously we do not recommend,
definitely not.
I would save your money and your time, wait for it to come to stream if you really want to see it. But that
you'll probably last maybe 25 minutes and then you'll turn it off.
So the plot, my biggest issue with the plot is the whole, and I agree, they kept going like backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. When they kept going back to Mary's kind of story and what's happening in Silent Hill, that isn't a thing in the game.
Are you talking about the cult?
Yeah, that isn't a thing.
Yeah, because that's why I read up afterwards. I
saw that.
The cult thing isn't in the game.
As soon as it started happening, I was a whole way through the film, I was thinking, fuck, have I just not read any of the files in the game? Have I missed like major plot points? Because I know she gets ill in the game. She gets ill in the game and things happen. And I was like, oh man, is that what's been happening all this time? I didn't realize. I was like, fine, like I don't really like it, but fine. And I went home and researched it. I was like, you motherfuckers, this is just not right at all. And even if they want to do that, do it in a better way is my main thing. But because of everything that happens, and then the big fucking problem at the end is she asks him to kill her.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the scene in the bed where he basically smothers it, right? Yeah.
That's what I say.
This ending 5 out of 6.
That doesn't happen in the game.
Right.
This film is about someone's guilt. The game, sorry, should be about someone's guilt and their mental issues dealing with what has happened to them and their partner. And this film just says, fuck it. Who gives a shit? Like, it leans to it. And when the film's starting, you're thinking this is what it's about. Like, he's drunk and stuff because he's obviously sad about what's happened. And then he gets this letter thinking that his wife's alive. And that's all fine. That's all part of the game.
Yeah.
But then when they got to that point, I was like, what?
But then you don't know. At the end of the movie, you don't know if, like, you think they're just alive and fine. Like, it's not to do with guilt at all in the end.
Well, no, they're not alive and fine. That is I don't know what that bit at the end is, to be quite frank. So I think one of the endings, I'm sorry, I feel like I have the bit in the water, right?
Yeah.
Where he is essentially drove off the bridge or whatever it was, and essentially kills himself by drowning. I believe that is an ending. I haven't got that ending. I believe that is an ending.
Right.
Because he deals with his guilt and he can't deal with it anymore, and he decides to take that way out. But then that bit after was basically, I took that as that's either him while he's dying, dreaming it, thinking that's what I should have done. That is not. It didn't need to be there. That's the full answer. Is that is just. What the fuck are we doing now?
Because there's even a bit where where he sees the cult underground. He like follows Mary, and he like sees it all under tunnel, and you then see her like die and stuff, or like she like burns or something.
Oh,
I
that was just
remember
put
like,
blood on her, I think.
but it looked like she was literally
I know,
turning into a
taken apart,
skeleton,
yeah.
and I was thinking like, is she dead? Like, is she dead now? Like, is that them killing her? Because obviously she's shouting to like try and save her.
Yeah.
It was just all messy and confusing to me. Like,
I think this is going to be like the first time when we do spoiler talk in the history of like the Late Night Movie Podcast where I'm using it to try and just understand the plot of a movie, which is crazy. So basically, and again, I'm happy for you to answer this question, Welchy, because I don't think it's going to be a mad spoiler, and it'll be a while until I get round to Silent Hill 2. So probably by the time I then pick up and play it, then like this conversation will probably be forgotten. So it's basically, from what you've said to me, is it that Silent Hill basically works as sort of a way of infecting somebody with mental health issues that has got guilt over something that's happened to their partner, and what Silent Hill is a tool that kind of fucks around with your mind? Because in that instance, if that's kind of what the game is kind of projecting, that would make sense for a lot of stuff that happens in the film, but equally the way that they tell that is very confusing. Am I kind of in the right ballpark?
The way I understand Silent Hill 2, the game, and I could be completely wrong, but this is my interpretation of it, is James Sunderland. Silent Hill is a place that is a place where him and Mary, whatever, that is all real.
Yeah.
But his return there is all in his mental, right? He is going there. It's foggy because he doesn't remember everything.
Yeah.
That's the reason for the fog, is because he doesn't remember every detail. Like especially in the town. And then when you go to like in the game, he goes to the apartments, which he goes into in this place. He goes to the hospital. Then there's no fog there because he knows those places inside out. Because that's where he spent.
And when I went into the shop, the fog starts to go.
He knows his places. That's where. But in the town, it's like foggy because he's like, oh, I think that's there and that's there, but it's the fog. It's more like a mental fog. We'll go into enemies in a minute. But yeah, the story is about him dealing with his guilt, with what's happened to Mary. Mary is unwell in the game, in past tense, and you get to that end. You get to that bit. You find out that thing in the hospital, and that happens, and then he deals with that guilt. And the final boss battle in the game is a version of Mary. It's very fucked up in the game. It's very fucked up. Obviously, you see her in the movie. It didn't quite play out like that, but fine.
Okay.
But yeah, it's about him dealing with his guilt, and everything you see will be something to do with that. So Maria is meant to be, my interpretation, how he wanted her to be. So that's what so obviously when you see her in the movie, she's dressed much more. Yeah, I'm just going to say slutty. Like she's like short skirt. She's got her like breasts out a bit.
She basically asked him to like fuck her within sort of like 5 minutes of meeting in the movie, and I'm like, shit the bed. What the fuck? Where's this woman come from?
And then I took it as a lot of like the nurses. I know they're scary, but they're all in very short stuff. It's all a lot of these creatures are. And there's some creatures I don't think made the movie. Fine, I know you can't get everything in there, but there's a creature which is just legs. So it's 2 legs.
Yeah.
2 legs at the bottom, and the top. It's like legs. It's like 4 legs, but standing up. Yeah. I always took it as he just saw He saw women as like sexual objects, and maybe he was going out, cheating, whatever. He was not happy at home because she was poorly. He was frustrated with her because she was.
You could also argue, and maybe explains the mind of having like a sex addiction in terms of that every sort of woman he's seen, he's just objectifying in that sort of way.
Yes,
maybe it makes me feel.
Go on.
No, all I was going to say is it makes me feel like it's one, and I reckon I love it in the game because I think that's a great idea for a game of kind of your own mental state is playing out to the world that you're interacting with. Fine. And actually this conversation is making a lot more things make more sense in terms of plot. I still stand by what I say because the way that you're describing it is not the way. Yeah, exactly that. So I'm more than happy to stick with my score, but at least now I've got a bit more, because when you Google it, like no one is telling me that, like no one is kind of answering, but I suppose that's because it's your interpretation, but that makes a lot of sense. I don't see how you can interpret it in a different way.
I think if you searched the meaning of the game, you'd get that. Visual search of the meaning of the movie. People that are watching the movie without playing the game will be like you, Stephen, or they'll have their interpretations, and might be right for the movie, but they're wrong in general because it's not anything similar to the game, really.
Yeah, I mean, I had that thought going through. I think we spoke about it, Andy, after the showing, where we both said, "Is it sort of playing down the road of mental health?" I mean, there's one bit where I just said they're all just fucking off their nut. Really, it's kind of what I got from it, but we still couldn't work out sort of what was real and what. And I feel like if they just done it to two specific endpoints, it might have made that message a bit more sort of clearer.
They should have took out the whole cult thing. That should have been
that was ridiculous.
This movie is only an hour and 42 minutes, so they've got additional time that they can use to add more of the Pyramid Head and the nurses and other characters just to tell the story of the game better. I don't get why it's like they thought of this cult thing, thought it was a good idea, decided to chuck it in, and actually forgot the story of Silent Hill.
So my thoughts on that is that I can imagine sitting there looking at the game script and what it's about and thinking, how the fuck are we going to tell this story? How are we going to get people to not come out of the cinema thinking, what the fuck? We want people to come out and get it. They want to get that she's been poorly. Want to get that he got frustrated because I think in the game he gets frustrated and offs her basically the same way he does in the movie, but she doesn't ask.
They did a great job at that, guys.
So, and I guess you see the frustration in parts, and I don't know if you do. You just see him feel sad when he's doing it. But really, the guilt's meant to come after the fact, and that's where this all happens because it's the guilt that's eaten away at him. So they must have thought, how can we get people to understand it? I know, we'll make her be part of this cult, which makes her poorly. What the fuck was that decision? I don't know how they got to that decision.
When you said just a moment ago that you don't get that feeling of the sadness of James from the movie, that's because the acting isn't up to the standard where an actor's allowed to bring you in. I put it down to bad writing as well. I'm not just putting it on him, but I feel like his expression is pretty much the same all the way throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe
there was that point where he wanted to look cool, didn't he? And he was like doing that face in the hospital.
Yeah.
I was like, what's this? I did like
it just didn't help. And that's why I say, you've got to, as an actor, your job is to try and find a way in. I didn't feel that it was almost a bit like he's just following what is on the page and going through the motions. That wasn't what he was trying to do. Or maybe it was. Maybe General was like, this is a pile of shit. I'm just going to get my paycheck and go. But generally, there was no change and range of emotion. And when we got to the sequence in the latter stage hospital with Maria, which now, that makes more sense. But still, he would go from looking at her as if he wanted to bang her to then killing her. And his face had stayed the same. And it's like, what? It makes sense.
We need to move on to Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head, again, my interpretation is his guilt following him, chasing him and making him deal head on with his consequences, pushing him through the story, and it is his guilt. And I remember because there's a bit at the end of the game I was like, what the fuck? And I googled it and it made sense to me now then, but I can't remember exactly what it's about. But in my mind, because I'm guessing you got from the film that it was him behind the Pyramid Head.
I didn't get it from the film.
That's what they were trying to tell you. They're like,
I knew afterwards because I researched it and obviously knew about the game.
Yeah.
And then knew that was meant to be him. So that's why I was like, well, there obviously should have been more Pyramid Head in the film and a way for them to. There could have been so many ways where they could have made that a lot more obvious that was him.
Yeah.
That was his guilt. That was his guilt version. What
happened to the other guy before we meet Pyramid Head? The dude in the apartment as well.
Yeah.
Where did he go? What happened to him?
That's a shame because there's a bit later on in the game with him, which is good. And that was one of the moments when the story started to click for me. So another. I think actually telling you this, Stephen, will help you appreciate the game more when you do come to play it.
Probably.
Throughout the moments in the game that you see dead men on the floor, and they're actually it's just James, like dead James is, and I didn't really realize that, but it's a bit towards the end with him, the big guy, and in my mind, hang on, let me just confirm this. The big guy looked a bit like James to me, a little bit, but bigger.
Yeah.
Not in the movie, he did. I don't think.
He did a little bit, but I think they tried to hire someone who looked slightly the same, just bigger.
Did they?
And now looking at it, yeah, he doesn't play two people. So
that went well as well.
Obviously, the Mary did play multiple people.
Yeah.
I can't see. Is his name Cal?
Although even that, as I said, that's why I broke the code of conduct, because even that was confusing me, because there was probably thinking, is this like a twin sister or is this like a body double? No, it is the same person. No, it's not Stephen. What are you on about? Like, honestly, it was so mind-boggling in terms of what was real and what wasn't.
Oh,
and
yeah. No, it wasn't the same actor.
I get it.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. But like, I get it based on that story. I just think we go back to the same thing. It should have been executed way better than what it actually was.
Another thing we haven't really spoke about is this film's not scary enough.
Oh no!
Again,
it's not scary at all.
It's always impossible to get the same scares you do from a game because you're not behind the sticks. It's again, you mentioned Outlast. That game is terrifying because you're controlling it. It's going to be. We cannot go into the Outlast film thinking it's going to be as scary as the game because it just won't be. There's just no physical way they can do it.
But I feel like there's scope with that because of the found footage genre, and
yes,
obviously
that's fine.
Outlast played a lot. So
it'll be scary.
I feel like, but also I think it'd be easier to turn Outlast from a game into a. Yes. I even think you could do like a TV series.
I think found footage is the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I would say is that you can do it because Until Dawn, despite the fact of people's issues with that is a movie that knows it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
Because every scene is either intense or scary or like massively violent. You've got those spoilers for Until Dawn briefly. You've got those moments of people are literally exploding, which comes out of absolutely nowhere in the bathroom sequence. And I remember going, "Whoa!" Like caught me off guard. There's just nothing. There's not. I didn't even get. I got a little bit of creepy vibes when we go into Silent Hill, which obviously I'd seen from the game. So I don't know Welchy. There was a moment where you're like, "Okay, that's creepy," or seeing like the first monster unsettling. But we need that scare. We need either more jump scares or that feeling of you being on the edge of your seat, clutching onto the chair going, something's about to happen. And there is none of that. But that's because the plot is so confusing that it kind of distracted me from the horror. That if there was horror going on, I didn't spot it because I couldn't work out what was going on.
They could have definitely made it more creepy, but that's again down to the lack of the pyramid head and like the nurses being in it.
Yeah.
Do you know, it felt like me playing a horror game. Like I see the nurses, I just run away. Yeah. And that's what it felt like for the movie. It's like every time he saw something that was like scary, he just ran away. Yeah. So maybe that's them trying to say he's running away from his guilt, but I don't know.
Yeah, but I agree that's probably what they were trying to do. Nice. But that is a fucking stretch and a bad way of doing it.
But but if they had those things more in it, like if there's a part where he's like, because they've got the setting, like they've got the hospital, like the different buildings, like they're compact, they're like short hallways, dark, like you can easily have him like going to a hallway where all of a sudden he's getting surrounded by these things and he's have to like pushing his way through. It might not be like scary and jumpy, but it'll definitely make it more intense and creepier.
I obviously Welch would be a better place to answer this. The vibe that I got from the game, and I know some people go, "Well, you shouldn't compare the game to the movie," but you're doing an adaptation of it. It's hard.
It's literally a straight adaptation. With
exactly.
The
vibe that I got from the first hour and a half was that this absolutely is a much more slower pace burner horror game. That it takes a while to get going. So I get the writer's probably sitting there going, "We need to follow that approach, that it's not going to be sort of in your face and straight from the get-go." But when we got into the second half of the movie, I'm assuming the game picks up in terms of those horror moments.
Well, it does, starts. But they've completely changed it again. So Pyramid Head is so intimidating and from memory. So in this, obviously, you first introduced him and he's bashing through. He's like trying to get through this gate, and it's like, I lost the scariness. One part of the scary thing from memory is you can kind of just see him standing there. Like all like intimidating and like he doesn't do that. He's just so angry and trying to get through. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but he's just so intimidating in the game, and he's stalking you, and you're like fuck, and you hear things, you're like fuck, like I don't want to. And I'm getting to the point. So I'm like, when no one goes to fight him, and I don't want to fight him. And again, that's just Pyramid Head, who should have been utilized a lot better and a lot more often.
Yeah.
The nurses was in one scene. and they could have been used more. They're terrifying in the game. They should have been in more. There's another creature with the one with the legs. They're the ones who typically were hidden in a corner and would jump out. They'd be the jump scare factor. You could have had a few of those in here. The spider lady, I don't think she's in the game from memory, right? Unless she was in the original and just didn't come back to the remake. I do not remember her at all. And I was like, this is fucking weird, but fine. This is interesting.
But but even with that bit, like, you see her for a few seconds and then Pyramid Head kills her.
Yeah.
So again, that makes no sense. Yeah. Like, what is that trying to do?
Again, I don't know. Again, was that another thing about him, his like sexual things? I don't know.
Did he have like a general like rational fear of spiders? Don't they say that he's there's a word, isn't it, for fear of spiders? Is it arachnophobia? Or is that so? Yeah, I swear that one of the hospital says that he has an fear of arachnophobia. I swear that's mentioned at some point in the film. So that would then make sense if he's seen Spider Lady, because that's one of his fears that it's prying on. But
the only thing
you're
that's
right,
similar. Go on.
No, so you see that for about 5 seconds and then Pyramid kills it. So what's the point?
The only thing that's similar in the game is those 4-legged things in the game. Towards the end of the game, you start a different version of them that are like crawling on the walls and like jump at you from the walls and stuff. I don't know if it's a nod to that, or if there's something in the original game, or if it's just something completely new. Maybe. But they don't grow legs in it. It's still 4 legs in the game, the ones on the walls.
Yeah.
But I think they should have been utilized. I think they would have been creepy. Like when I saw the first one, like with no arms and stuff, like I was like, that looks sick. I couldn't wait to see what they do with the legs thing. And I was like, oh.
Maybe they thought it looked silly in the movie, having them. Like, people look at them like laugh.
Silly in the game, but then eventually it's scary. Yeah. It's just legs walking.
Like, jumping out at you in the game, like, that's an easy way for them to get some jump scares in. If you like, if you're following James's character through these areas, and you don't know when something like that's going to jump out, it would freak you out.
There should have just been a bit more eerie and intimidating. It just got a bit chaotic, I think, this story, and I think it's just they as we said, they completely fucked it up. But what did you think of the bed? So you know when the girl who I think you hopefully have kind of worked out was being sexually assaulted, the girl that you meet right at the beginning, then you meet her again in the middle, and then you meet her towards the end.
Oh yeah.
You see the bed like grabbing her legs, and then she gets sucked down, and then he goes down there, and then you just see this like bed thing with like a head on the end of it.
That's
in the game.
It's all a bit freaky.
Good. They look good in the movie. It's so much scarier in the game because it chases you in the game, and it's like, shit.
Okay.
It's really creepy, but that story is meant to be like a side story. I can't. Maybe there is a connection to maybe his past.
Are they all Mary though? Like, because obviously, when you say the girl at the start, do you mean the girl that's like putting the sandbags in the river?
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't they call her Angela?
Is that Angela? Shit, she played all of them.
That's what. So she. Yeah, because then you see her grave, you see Mary's grave, and it says Mary, Angela, Marie, whatever.
Yeah.
But then obviously that's why I picked up that she was those characters, but I didn't know in what way it was telling it. Obviously, I'm getting a bit more clarification now from you talking about the game and stuff, but
yes.
I mean, that bit went completely over my fucking head. Yeah. I got the Angela at the end of the grave. Yeah.
Apparently in the game, they're not the same person. Obviously, in this, that was played by the same actress.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a decision they made to make it seem like. So basically, in the game.
Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Piss take. But Angela in the game is just this girl. I don't know. That doesn't work with my whole theory about this being in his mental. But anyway, she is sexually assaulted by her dad. And that's why she's scared of everyone. That's why she won't let anyone touch her. And that whole thing when she's like merged into the bed is like that is that with her dad and stuff. And
unless another theory is that Silent Hill plays on multiple people that have got issues like mentally,
who are stuck in this place. Maybe he's in a mental hospital or something with this lady,
and maybe she is as well. And Maria and Silent Hill was kind of like the physical connotation of somebody going through those stages of mental illness and grief. But then there's another part of me thinking we're just giving the movie way too much fucking credit for
we're giving the game credit for that.
Game credit for that, yeah, because that is a really
failed to
interesting premise. We said earlier as well when we spoke about the fact of that, was it scary enough? I went on to like the rating, where they give you advice at the start of the movie of what's in it, and they rated this 15 for strong horror, and I was like, who has sat down and classified this and thought, where's the horror? Like,
I agree, but I think the bed is disturbing. That scene is disturbing, and then there's the moment where there's something on the ceiling, and he sucks him up. Do you remember that? That doesn't happen in the game. The enemy, that part is a boss battle.
Yeah,
but it doesn't suck him up until and like Mary's up there. It's just all so strange. But I think in that scene, the little girl locks him in the room. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
She gets him in there, then she locks him in.
Yeah,
that happens in the game. Yeah, I was like, what the fuck, little girl? Why are you doing this to me? So I think the little girl points again. I don't want to say because I don't know if I'm wrong. What was the girl's name?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Because I have a theory.
You're searching,
Laura.
While you're searching that, I think what really gets me, someone who is, I love the horror genre. It actually pains me to be I don't think I've ever been as negative to a movie, and probably never be as negative unless something even worse comes out. But like, horror works when you've got a story that is connected, that an audience can follow, and then you add in the scares, the creepiness, the eeriness. And I know some movies have bombed, but we've had lots of amazing horror movies that have done really intricate, great things, whether it's an original or an adaptation. I just don't understand how you can mess it up to this point, because I understand from what you're saying, Welchy, you've got a complicated story that you've got to get onto the screen, but you don't use a complicated story by overcomplicating it. That just doesn't. Who sat there and who, when they got to the end of it, when they read the script, did they go, lads, this is it. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we've got it. We have got it. We have done a great job here. This is going to go down really well. Like, surely someone sat there and thought, hang on a minute, that doesn't make sense. Or where was the quality assurance? Why did they not sort of pick holes in their decision making? Why did Konami not go, whoa, no, because they worked in partnership with them?
Yeah, I don't know if Konami just gave them the keys and didn't actually give a fuck. I don't know how much they had any involvement.
It's just really baffling of how a movie can get it so wrong, and I just can't get my head around it, despite of all the stuff that was saying with the game. And it seems like you got a better experience than both what me and Andy did, but still, just from a movie on its own, it should be one where you don't have to play the game to enjoy the movie.
Yeah, no, it's bad. And the reason I gave it a 3 is because I liked some of the things I saw visually, which reminded me of moments from the game. If I hadn't played the game, I'd be watching this maybe I would still been quite impressed with how the thing looked, like some of the enemies looked, but I wouldn't have been able to resonate it to the game, and I would have been more disappointed. And I wouldn't have known what I know about the game to be like, okay, I can see what they're trying to do, but they've just done it wrong.
Yeah.
But the girl is someone apparently who befriends Mary when she's in hospital, so she knows her through that. But anyway, we need to wrap up. It's been a long episode. I think it's quite clear that we did not enjoy this movie, and I want to be clear, I'm not trying to be the one who does like this movie. I do not like this movie. I would not recommend this movie. They did not do it justice at all. It's a shame. There's some good things here, like the look of the pyramid head and stuff like that, but it's just not enough. It's a 3 out of 5. A 3 out of 10 is considered bad on our scale. The reason I gave it 0.5 is because it was close to being meh. It would have been meh if the story was slightly better. The story is so bad that I had to give it a bad.
Yeah. I was all on the same page. Yeah.
Hated it. We're not, because Stephen put it in disgrace.
No, it is a disgrace.
I think the plot is a disgrace. But I have to give it some marks up for other stuff. But
I feel like, because of me being so passionate with horror as well, I'm especially critical. I mean, normally, Welchy, you're Mr. Nasty. I would say that we're like the Mr. Nasty. That's like, no, but I get what you mean. And again, I'm giving it a point for those points. I'll be clear. Mm-hmm. It looked great at parts, and it stayed true to the game for the bit that I've played. But again, it ruined everything by how bad the plot. I don't think I've ever watched a movie which has as bad of a plot. I can't think of another movie close to this, and I'm not exaggerating or getting over the top. I was kind of like, as I was driving over, thinking that was a waste of time. And then the next day, with my family saying, "Oh, how was Return to Silent Hill?" The more people ask me about it, the more angry I then become because it just is so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Oh man, did anyone write in? Got any listener comments?
No, not on this one. No one's been to see it. And I don't blame them at all.
Yeah, they pretty won't now.
Normally, because I don't go to cinema as often as you two, and I don't have Limitless or whatever, I normally reserve my cinema trips to films that I know are pretty good, are going to do a decent job.
Yeah.
This is the first one that like, normally I taste it has a film. Normally I'm like, oh, it's all right, or oh, it's amazing, like Pony Temple. And I was like, yeah, it was shit. Like, it was a waste of time. I shouldn't have gone. But the stuff we do for the podcast. Okay.
Exactly.
That is going to do it for tonight's episode of the Late Night Movie Podcast. Let us know what you thought of Return to Silent Hill if you've watched it. If you are not going to watch it, let us know what you thought of our review at least. Do you think we did a good job of explaining why you shouldn't watch it? What I do want to say as well is don't let this put you off the game, people. Steve in particular, but anyone listening, play the game.
Yeah. And I think I was going to do that anyway. It's just, and I'm just in my head going, well, if it's completely different from the movie, great, because anything different is going to be better than that, really. Like, and the fact that you've got through it, there's no way that you would put up with a game that
if it was kind of works in the same way.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, and I've heard like great things about Silent Hill 2, so absolutely not.
You can drop your thoughts in the comments or tag us on socials at the Late Night Pods. You can also join our Discord using the link in the description so you can get your thoughts in before our episode is recorded. If you enjoyed the episode, please make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you are listening. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next episode. Speaking of which, next time we will be reviewing, or Andy will be reviewing, the movie Iron Lung. Will it get better reviews than this film? I don't know. We'll have to find out. But you won't want to miss that one. It's going to be a fun one. We'll also talk about what other stuff we've been watching as well. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I've been your host, Welchy, and my co-hosts have been Andy.
Yeah, thank you as always, guys. It's been a pleasure. And I probably will play Silent Hill 2 at some point, but the movie hasn't put me off.
Good. And Stephen.
Yeah, been a pleasure as always. Probably the most angry you're ever going to hear me. Hopefully I won't be like that ever again. But yeah, it's been a fun one.
Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you next time.